Hello, I'm Regina Botras, and this is Backstage, where we talk with the who's who on stage, in dance, comedy and performing arts, speaking with the leading theatre makers of our times and how they came to the stage and what drives them and inspires them. I'm joined by Lucy Clements. She's the founder, managing director and CEO of New Ghosts Theatre Company and the artistic director of the Old Fitz. She recently directed her opera debut with Pinchgut Opera, and she specialises in championing playwrights and women in theatre. And in 2019, she established the IGNITE Collective, a woman-led inclusive collective of theatre makers from across the nation. Her production of Albion won the Sydney Theatre Award for Best Independent Production in 2022. Look, she's done loads of stuff. She's here to talk about the latest production at the Old Fitz Theatre, Iphigenia in Splot. Oh, good. I got it, didn't I, Lucy? Hi, welcome to Stages.
You got it. Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We were talking about this before we started recording. And yes, being an old Greek name, it may be pronounced in many different ways. So tell us the sort of, the Greek mythological sort of background before this. And before I ask that, did you, was this part of the a previous production at Flight Path?
That is all correct. So I came across this play for the first time in 2019. I believe it was written in 2015, so it was a couple of years after its Welsh debut. Is a Welsh play by a Welsh playwright. So I came across it. I was working in retail at the time, so I was behind the counter pretending I was working, while reading some new scripts, and I was looking for the next, script to really be a passion project for me. And I read a review of a new show that said it's good, but not as good as Iphigenia in Splot. And I thought, what is this Iphigenia in Splot? So I bought it, read it behind the counter, and it was my 2020 passion project that I did at Flight Path. We did it in the middle of COVID. So it was, it was like a weird little COVID window where things reopened for a few weeks and we got it on. And so it was pretty nuts. We had to show it to a very small capacity. And it did sell out, but it was a very quick run in very strange circumstances. So it meant so much to me to be able to bring it 5 years later, which is a pretty amazing thing to be able to do.
So when you first read that and it went, oh, this is something, it's not as good as Iphigenia. When you read it, did it live up to that initial kind of statement?
Absolutely. It's pretty incredible. I read it in one sitting behind the counter at this retail store and cried.
Oh.
It had that kind of effect on me. And hilariously, I'd just done another show the year before, which had a young female Welsh character. And so I'd been working with this amazing actor, Meg Clark, who I just think is extraordinary, like one of Australia's best. And I just got the opportunity to work with her for the first time in a Welsh role. So she already had the accent down. So, of course, I just read the whole script straight away in Meg's voice.
So great.
I sent it to her straight away and said, what do you reckon? How do you feel about a 90-minute solo show?
But this is she is a mythological figure, but this is set in the UK?
Yes. So let me give you that context. So Iphigenia is the daughter of Agamemnon, who had to go to war was part of the Trojan War. So when he was trying to sail to Troy, he made the gods angry. And they stopped the wind as a result of that, and so he could not travel. And to get the gods back on side, they said he would have to sacrifice his daughter, Iphigenia. So there's a few different versions of the myth, but one of them, and I believe this is the one that Gary was most inspired by, is that she was tricked. That's in all of them. That she was told she was going to her altar to be married. Then she was sacrificed and killed. But in one of the versions, she does realize before the moment of her death that she is being made a sacrifice, and she agrees to it to save her people. So it's this incredible story of female sacrifice. And I think what Gary is doing there is transporting the idea of female sacrifice across centuries and placing it in modern day Splot, which is a very small working class suburb in Wales.
And how is she, I guess, saving the world of her time?
That is for you to come and find out. but it's quite unexpected. I will
Of course,
tell you,
of
it's a
course.
play that takes many twists and turns. That is what got me so much when I first read it. Is that you every scene you think, oh, this is where the play is going,
Oh.
and then Gary turns it on his head all over again. But it's a working class character, and she can be pretty scary. She describes herself as someone you would cross the road if you saw her in the street.
Right.
And so it's about looking twice at people and realizing that we can't judge them in those first looks as well.
So what is the world? Is it all set in the street, or are we in the home? Or is it this sort of otherworldly place?
So Gary is from Splot. This is his hometown, so it's very set in Splot. It is specifically but she does take us everywhere. The set is it's really set on this beautiful concrete pillar, which is both kind of Greek and kind of looks like a sacrificial monument, but also has these kind of the streets of a city vibe. So it has both those kind of connotations, but it's quite bare. So it lets us really transport the audience to all kinds of locations. So she goes into a club, she's in her home, she's in other people's homes, she's in the hospital. She'll take us all over Splot in 90 minutes. Yeah,
right. And so talking about, you do so much work with women in theatre and kind of giving them a voice. What is her voice? Is it, because, if you're talking about women martyring themselves for the greater good, I don't know, where is the kind of power in her story?
I think she's someone who would otherwise be voiceless, who we don't often take the time to actually hear and see the story of. And it reminds us that everyday people have lived a life that we cannot expect and we cannot judge. Yeah.
So how has it been taking on the role of the artistic director at the Old Fitz? What does your year look like?
So it's so huge. So we took it over. So this is my second year. Last year was our inaugural year here, Emma and I, and my executive producer and I. And we put on 33 productions and hosted 789 performers on the stage throughout the year. So completely nuts, and lots of heart palpitations. I had a full body rash at one point.
I can imagine. Oh my gosh.
My body is trying to keep up with it. But now this year, 2025, we're settled. We understand what a day-to-day looks like a bit more. We didn't know that when we came in. So we have a bit more confidence in ourselves and just continuing our mission of really making the Old Fitz Theatre a community, a hub, while also maintaining this amazing artistic excellence that it's so well known for.
And is there the kind of opportunity to pitch plays, or how does it work?
Yeah, exactly. So we're in August, and we will do this every year. We did it last year and on forward, and was set up by our predecessors as well. We run open submissions. So we run it for the entirety of August. So any time people can pitch to us shows that they would like to do in the next year. And last year we had 170 submissions. Wow. So it really shows you what the appetite is in Sydney to be creating and putting on work, which I find so exciting. And here at the Fitz, we have so many different ways of people getting up shows. We have our main stage program, which is what Iphigenia and Splot is a part of. But then we also have a late night program. So after Meg Clark takes her bow every night, another show starts on stage, and that's actually starting tonight. Wow. It's called Love by Patricia Cornelius, which is a fantastic partner piece to Iphigenia. Really is almost an Iphigenia-esque world, within Splot world, I should say, here in Australia. So that's fantastic, and they play on the same set. So we are able to often have 2 shows per night. So for people who want something a bit more risky or want to really try something out, that's a really great fertile ground for that as well.
That's really exciting. Well, I will let you go. You must be run off your feet directing and artistic director, and probably got other things in the pipeline down the track. Lucy, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Lucy Clements there, the artistic director of the Old Fitz and the director of Iphigenia in Splot, on at the Old Fitz at the moment. Ooh, mysterious. Sounds really fascinating. Can't wait to see it.